Three, two, one. All right. So, God damn it, Trevor! Now he's freaking texting me. Hold on. I'm so sorry, man. Just hold on.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Million Dollar Me. I'm your host Max Kellerhalls, and with me today I have.
Yan and
Oh, man.
Just say your fucking name.
Or I'm Dr. Jelqenstein. Yeah, like, this is my real identity. My last name is actually Jelqenstein.
It's your Dune 2 character, Dr. Jelqenstein.
I'm huffing the spice up my new nose tube. Right? That's what they did.
You're not too far off. Alright, well, you kind of spoiled what we're talking about, even though you clicked on the video. We're talking about Dune Part 2. Now, along with this video, I have released the Dune Part 1 review, so if you want to hear our thoughts on the first part, me and Joelle did a video talking about that movie. It was a really fun review. She wasn't able to make it to this recording, but do not worry. I do have her notes for this video, and her opinions will be shared. So, we miss you, Joelle. Hopefully we could get you back in another video sometime soon. But yes.
God rest your soul.
Yes, she's dead. All right. Yeah, Dune Part 2. How about we do like a little bit of a non-spoiler in the beginning, and then we do spoilers towards the end. How's that sound?
Whatever you want to do, blood. We're all good.
All right. This movie basically takes place right after the end of the first movie. So you don't do like a time skip seeing the main character Paul learn from the Fremen. You basically see him get introduced into the Fremen and see how he gets acclimated into this group of people. And through that, he starts a rebellion/revolution on the planet of Arrakis against the Harkonnens. And the consequences of this rebellion are galactic-wide and go to the Emperor, who starts to make plans of his own. While that's going on, his mom is trying to figure out how to make Paul this messianic figure and have Paul live up to his greatest potential. Yeah, I'm just going to say it right off the bat. I love this movie. It's going to be a really hard movie to top for the rest of the year. It's got everything you want. It's got like political intrigue, great characters, funny moments, sex appeal, sand.
I was just going to ask.
What else we got? Christopher fucking Walken.
plenty of action.
Oh yeah, like big epic action. Before the start of this review, you told me you didn't like the first movie because it was kind of boring for you. That is not the case for this film.
It was just a 3-hour-long, just dragging my willy through glass and sand, the Dune desert.
Like the sandstorm.
Yeah, I basically just banged the sandworm for the first movie.
Oh my god.
Side question: are they supposed to be Arabic inspired? They're got a lot of them cloths, the head dressings.
The Fremen, yeah.
Yeah, the Fremen are definitely based off Arabic culture. Even in the book, they're based off Fremen culture. I mean, Arabic culture. The Fremen.
Oh,
I'm tired.
Are the Fremen the tribal guys that he killed the one dude so he could bang Zendaya? Or did he not kill that guy? I can't remember.
Yeah, Jameis, the guy who challenged Paul at the end of the first movie, he's dead. Through that, we get to see more of the characters that were only part of the first film. So you get more Zendaya, you get as Chani, and you get more.
Dude, we want more Zendaya since when? Come on, man. We need more of his mom. Clearly.
You do get a bit more of his mom in this film.
She's in there. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. His mom just has a very wild role in this film that we'll get into in spoilers. Man, it's really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling some stuff. But Yen, you said that you never knew anything about Dune going into this, correct?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I basically just invited you just to see, hey, do you just want to come see this? And for me, it was going to be an experiment to see, does this movie have like a mass appeal to like a general audience. So you were my like test subject in a way. So coming out of the movie, what did you think of the experience overall?
Would it be fair to me for me to compare it to like Rogue One at times? Because that's I
Actually,
it
funny.
kind of felt like I was watching like a more drawn out but more detailed story driven Rogue One. Not to say Rogue One wasn't story driven though.
I know what you mean. But funny you say that it's actually shot by the same guy who did Rogue One.
Oh,
Not
dude, because I
directed, but shot.
mhm.
It's a director of photography named Greg Fraser. His eye for like scale and everything is just, you see it on display in this film. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because there were certain points where I don't know if he was also in charge of costume design, but it
Yeah.
just gave me a really strong like these are almost like the rebels from Star Wars doing their thing. Because like the
Mhm.
opening scene when they're being fired upon, I again it's a Star Wars nerd in me, but I was like, this reminds me of like a really darker Tatooine, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, instead of the Tusken Raiders, you have the rebels being fired on, like I guess the Empire or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of the Empire. I mean, the Emperor. There is an Emperor figure in this movie, but for the most part, like the main conflicts with the Harkonnens, which are this like separate faction.
yeah. I guess in general, I was taken aback by the cinematography in a good way. Like it was very enjoyable. The visuals were great.
Mhm.
Like I said, I there were times where I would look at scenes and I was like, this is like Jeddah from Rogue One, where they're
Yeah.
taking kyber crystals, but instead of kyber crystals, it's spice.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah,
Yeah.
like, well, Dune did inspire George Lucas in a lot of things. Like we talked a little
Oh
bit
yeah.
about it in the first video, but like, yeah, like the main character being this guy who has to live up to this legacy potential. Paul, Luke, the rebels, the Fremen, the Empire, the Harkonnens, and the Emperor. Like, there's a lot of comparisons you can make, and that's Dune is basically what kind of inspired a lot of sci-fi. And correct me if I'm wrong, you have a little bit more comparisons, or at least from sci-fi that you know more of.
We're talking about like the Warhammer stuff that I went over and some of the Star Wars tech.
I mean, you could talk more about the Warhammer because I think like the Star Wars stuff is a little bit more obvious than the Warhammer stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah. So when it comes to like the Warhammer things, first let me say I know that Dune inspired Warhammer, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
But so I guess I'll start with like the Emperor. In Dune, the guy that remember when we saw the Emperor and like you almost started laughing because you recognize the actor.
Well, it's Christopher Walken.
Well, his title and I guess what he does is sort of similar to the Emperor from 40K
Mm-hmm.
because in 40K, the guy is called the Emperor or
Mm-hmm.
Emperor of Man, and he's leading the Imperium/Imperium of Man.
Okay.
So that's one of the things I noticed. But then there was a scene when they're in those like dragonfly helicopters and
Yeah, they're called ornithopters or ornithopter.
in the ornithopters, and then you see the two pilots look normal. They have like cool futuristic pilot helmets,
Mm-hmm.
but then I guess like you could say their spotter was like more connected to the machine. It almost looked like a VR headset
Mm-hmm.
from his eyes plugged directly into the machine.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of reminds me of the aesthetics of like the pilots for like the Warhound Titans, which are just giant like mech things, and the essentially the pilot also has like stuff attached to them in that similar manner.
Mm-hmm.
And going off of that, like I noticed that both societies, if I remember correctly, from the movie, they hate AI, right? Like they don't trust AI technology.
Yeah, there's this one detail in in the movies that they never really go into, but um, in like Dune lore, like the reason why there are no robots or AI or like anything like that is because long time ago it became sentient and they went to war with it. So to prevent that from happening again, the people of the galaxy pretty much just decided to turn to medicinal properties and ways to basically expand the human mind
Hmm.
to account for all this stuff. So that's why you have certain people called Manats. You see more of them in the first movie than you do in this movie, but they're basically like human calculators. Their brains are just wired to like think of calculations and stuff on the spot and store vast amounts of knowledge so that they can like be able to be the best for their duke. And that's what makes spice so important, because spice gives these particular people called the spacing guild the capability to go from planet to planet. So if you don't have spice, you cannot space travel or space travel well. Otherwise, you have to do it the hard way, which is put them in sleep and shoot them in a direction. With this, they can actually they can make the calculations that will get them from place to place. And then there's also a bunch of mystical elements that Spice has involved, like with the Bene Gesserit, which is this evil group of, well, I shouldn't say evil, but this like group of women behind it all. They have more of the mystical powers of the Spice, and just like that in general, where they have the voice where they can like speak in a very particular frequency and make people do whatever they want. So there's that, and they also have the ability to choose what gender their child is. So they're like, I want a girl, they'll have a girl. I want a boy, they'll have a boy. But yeah, there's a lot more we'll get into with like the weird trippy shit of Dune.
I definitely say those ladies are evil.
I guess.
I mean, you got to get where I'm coming from. Mac. Oh, all right, the audience can't see me, but you can probably guess from my name.
Yeah. Well,
Different.
I think I know where you're coming from, but I also really appreciate the film does go into these ideas of not only like political intrigue of like a colonization story, but what I love about this movie is that it's a critique on the white savior trope. And I kind of
Yeah.
wanted to get your opinion on that, because going in, I knew that that's the framework of this story. I just didn't know how they were going to handle it. So I was curious to see what you thought of it watching the film.
I guess as I was watching now, do keep in mind that I'll be honest. By the time the film ended, I was like really tired, really overwhelmed, and like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know people's names. Like if I'm being honest, by the end of the film.
Yeah, this film doesn't waste any time with like introducing you to people. It's like they expect you to have seen the first film to get introduced to everything, and then this just goes and does all the cool shit.
I'm glad that Hollywood kind of went with that route to sort of show you like how this is technically supposed to be a bad thing when you see it,
Hmm.
but I still feel like by the end of the movie, it's kind of forgotten and you're kind of hyped up. Like
Interesting.
like when he yells to his mother, that is not free. That is not freedom, right? Is that what he yelled
That's not
to his
hope.
mom?
That's not hope.
Oh, that's not. I think that did a good job of conveying like, hey, yeah, this is not good at all.
Hmm.
But like honestly, even for me, Max, by the end of the movie, I was saying, "Send them to paradise," and I forgot all about the white savior because his speech
Oh,
where he
okay, wait, wait,
rallies
okay,
over.
wait. Let's say that for
Oh,
spoilers, but
sorry.
yeah, I do
Yeah,
want to get to that
my
speech.
bad.
I think the actor Timothy Chalamet,
Oh,
he
He means
really,
really.
good.
he's really good in this film. To be fair, in that first film, he has to play like the weaker version, and I put that in quotes, in that like he hasn't gone on his quote unquote hero's journey yet, so he's not at the level of like what you want him to be. But in this film, you really see him step up from not only a rebel fighter for the Fremen, but then a practically like General Duke King level by the end of the film when we get to the speech. Like Timothy Chalamet, like I can believe that he commanded that room. Like he did a really good job. Like, and most of that speech was done in a fake language.
Yeah, that's another thing that was really cool. they took a fake sci-fi language and made it sound real. I
Mhm.
mean, granted, it is based off of
Yeah, yeah.
West Asian languages, but still, it was pretty cool.
Hmm. Yeah, like I think the same guy who helped write languages for Game of Thrones worked on this film. Yeah, I don't know, like the aesthetic of everything's really good in the film. I think the one that really kind of blew me away and like that looks so alien and different is when you go to the Harkonnens' homeworld and it's basically done in this infrared black and white kind of style, but not in the
Oh
way
yeah,
that's like done in like other movies. It's like the contrast is really high, and it's just very fascinating to see because what I like, it's where we basically get introduced to Austin Butler's character who plays the other nephew of the Baron.
the psychopath nephew.
Yeah, Fade Rotha.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I thought he was captivating. Like he was just weird and scary. I don't know. I like the weird like psychotic angle he brought to this character. It's not over the top, but it's just enough to like be interesting.
Like I could see that being a real psychopath,
Oh yeah.
like from the versus, I guess, like a cartoony
Mhm.
view of one. I guess.
Yeah, like the original in the 1980s Dune is played by the singer Sting, and he really kind of he really plays up the cartoonish psychopath. But in this, it's a psychopath who has privilege, so he just gets away with anything he wants. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he was such a spoiled little brat.
Yeah. But what I like is that he still has some weird level of honor.
Yeah, like when he killed that bald Asian guy, he was instead of like humiliating him in death, he literally legit said good job.
Uh-huh. He also gave that guy a
Oh,
fair fight because like the ring masters were kind of like bringing him in, and he was like telling him to fuck off pretty much.
yeah. He was
Like
getting mad that they were giving him a better chance.
yeah, or just like yeah, exactly. Like come on, make this fun for me. Like I like that. I like getting to see like a truly evil villain in a movie again. Like oh, that was fun to watch. I think my only problem is I wish there was more scenes with him
Yeah.
when he meets Paul at the end. I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but it's not really because you kind of expected these two to meet up. It doesn't have the same weight because they literally just met, and it's like, oh, there's no real like history between these two characters. So it's just like you meet this person and fight. But then again, I still like the fight.
It was badass.
It
I'm
was
not gonna
really
lie.
cool. It was really cool. I just wish there was more. I wish there was like some emotional play in that fight.
What I liked about that fight, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was no like music to that or OST going on, right?
No, it was just sound effects.
But yeah, I love that. I
I
don't know
like I
why,
like
but
it.
it kept me on the edge of my seat without the use of all the
Well,
music.
I think what it does, it kind of puts you in the room because kind of like watching like a school basketball game,
Mhm.
if you know what I mean, or like watching a home game or something like that in like a gym, and everybody's quiet because they're wanting to see what happens, but everything else is echoed. So it's like this big open space with all these people, but they're all being quiet and focusing in on the fight going on. So all you
Yeah.
hear is like the hits are echoed, and everything just like has more weight behind it. And I think that's what I like the feeling that fight gives at the end.
When you when you said that, dude, that just reminds me of like being in the gym and watching a guy bench like 5 plates. So yeah. Oh, going off of like the aesthetics of the Harkonnen,
Yeah,
their fireworks were really weird. Like, what was it supposed to be?
it looks like ink
Yeah,
just like splats up in the sky, and it has like this weird like drawn out effect. I think it's an infrared effect. Hits a camera, it causes like that black like burnout effect on the screen. Or like when you look at something really bright, you close your eyes and then look around, you have that like little black spot. I don't know. I just again, I thought that looked really cool, and it made the world look fascinating. And I don't know. I think for me, the one thing that's just like that just makes them so weird, the Harkonnens, is again like they have no hair. They all look like naked mole rats.
Wait,
And
there's a
there's
bald clan?
Kind of, yeah.
the
That's
Harkonnen.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
is that what
dude.
that bald, like, fat dude was on Google Images? On,
Yeah.
where is he at?
The Baron. Yeah.
Um, I, I have something to say about the Harkonnen
Oh,
in the movie.
was he the dude from the first movie who shot, like, the bad breath, like, fart gas out of his mouth?
No. That was Paul's dad, the Duke. Like that little capsule that when he cracked it, it created like a poison effect in the room. He breathed it at the Baron, and
Oh, he was
the
Wait,
trying to
Baron,
assassinate the
yeah, and the
fat man.
Baron kind of just like floated up to the corner of the room and just hid.
How'd he do that? Is he just, like, so fat he can inflate?
Like, you know what? I'm not even gonna explain it. That's what it is. Let's just move on.
No,
That's it. He's Kirby, pretty much.
like the Baron talk, just like I completely forgot about that scene, but just talking about this Baron guy just like brought that scene back into my head, and I'm like, wait, why the fuck did that happen?
dude, I cannot look at bald people the same anymore because I literally laugh and start thinking about Dune and the Harkonnen, and I have to tell myself that I can't be like this in public. I have to calm down because there's a guy at my Planet Fitness that is built like the Baron, but like more healthy. But he has the baldness, the mass, and the ethnicity. And like every time I
Wait,
see him, it's like I start laughing, and then he's caught on, and he started laughing.
wait. What do you mean by ethnicity? Like Swedish?
No, he's white. Like
Oh.
he's got the overall facial structure too.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I can't. Max, like it started right after we like during the movie because like I noticed there was a bald guy sitting in front of us and to our right, and he was. And then I remembered, Max, that when I first saw him, he was grabbing popcorn and he put extra salt on it. And I was like, that's such a Harkonnen thing to do.
The look and everything in this film, from like a production standpoint, is like top notch. Like everybody just brought it. Like the costumes look cool. The designs of the ships look cool. At least to me, I like the designs of the ships and that they look very practical and like nothing
Even the
too.
Dragonfly one,
Yeah, I mean to a point. Like I
I like
like.
the
when I
dragon.
saw it in the first movie, I was like, what the fuck is this?
I don't know. I like
And then
it.
they got like sucked into the big sand hole,
Um,
right? That happened, like the big like sand thing, or like the sand, like what do you call it?
Worm?
Like the
oh, the
fucking the
worm. Yeah, the
sinkhole.
worm.
There was like, yeah, it was like a sinkhole, and there was like the big like mining like
Yeah,
vehicle
yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
like all the
Well, that
dragonflies are swarming it.
Well, yeah, that's what I kind of like about this planet. It just one from like a metaphor standpoint, it kind of reminds me of like this planet is like the dump, and these are the flies swarming it. This planet is like this backwater, desolate
Oh,
planet that only very little like only like the cockroaches and insects can survive on this planet, which kind of goes into how you look at the Fremen is like, oh, that's at least how the Harkonnen see the Fremen is just like, oh, these little insects, these rats. What makes them special is that like, just like real life, like if the rats took over,
pretty
there's
sweet.
way more rats than there are humans.
This is just like in terms of aesthetics and
Mhm.
design choice, but oh damn, you might have actually been in the restroom for this part.
Okay.
I don't remember, but you know the ornithopter,
Uh huh.
like the machine gun. I love how it fires its ammunition almost
Oh,
like
okay. Yeah, I
a
saw parts of
shotgun,
that.
and
Yeah.
it's like he pulls a trigger, and usually in like real life, it's like tuk, 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 right, a stream of fire. Where
Hmm.
this is like almost a literal wall. It's like a machine gun shotgun combo, and it was just so badass.
Yeah, I love the look of like the lasers and guns and how they shoot in this film. Like unlike Star Wars, where it's like a pew pew, like a big like you see an actual bolt, like a thick red bolt of laser beam, like go across. Like in this, it looks like lasers you'd see in like a photonics lab. It's like a really thin beam that just
Oh yeah,
hits something and just cuts through shit. What you're saying, like that, I really like that too. It's just like I don't know, it just waffles people.
Like the pattern of it is almost in like a lattice structure, so it hits as many things
Yeah,
as
like
possible.
it's not meant for precision, it's more meant for like coverage, which I thought
That
was
just tells
really
you
cool. Yeah.
that just tells you how rich the Harkonnen are, because it's like they got that, and then the scene where he's like, "There's nothing like good old fashioned artillery," and they're just bombarding the heck out of these Fremen.
Oh yeah, like spare no expense on like missiles. Like they just blow the fuck up out of that mountain.
Did they do the sand walk again at least?
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I love that.
Now I have to see the movie again now. I
That
want to see the sand
sandwalk
walk.
is my favorite. Like dumb thing, but I don't mean dumb in a bad way. I just love that, like, in life there's some things that you hate doing, but you have to do it because it's like it's the safe way, or it's like you won't die if you do this, but it looks stupid. It,
Mhm.
it reminds me of that. It's like, okay, you got to do this stupid ass walk across the sand, but if you do it right, you won't die and the worms won't come after you. Like,
Well,
cool.
for us Northerners, it's walking correctly on ice and snow to
Hmm.
not crack your head open on the sidewalk.
Exactly. It makes the world feel dangerous. I mean, it's already like a hot ass desert planet. So it's like I don't want to be there to begin with. Just watch our first video for why I think that's the case. But um, for this, like, I don't know, like there's just all these little things that make this world feel so lived in.
Like what is like the ratio of like CGI to like actual like shit? Like were they actually
Uh,
out like making Zendaya like get
oh
cooked
yeah,
in the
oh
desert and
yeah.
shit, or was it just green screen?
Oh
Oh
no,
shit,
they I think they filmed it in Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah, they filmed it in the deserts of Jordan, and so yeah, they actually had all the actors wearing this black leathery looking armor out in the scorching heat for months at a time. And I think whenever you have like scenes that are like indoors, I think that might be more of a set. But whenever you're outside in the sand, they filmed in the sand.
That's
So
wild.
so like everything looks big and grand, and but to be fair, the CG in this film does look really good. Like really good. Like I can't think of any moment that I was like, well, that's CG. I was just engrossed in everything in this movie. Like everything like looks practical. I don't want to say real because there are some things where I'm like, okay, that giant glass shaped ball of a spaceship, would I believe that being a thing? Maybe. But does it look cool? Hell yeah.
I can't believe in a big floating fat guy. I think that's probably fake.
Well,
The sandworm's real though. They actually have those in Jordan. I'm a bugologist.
um, I guess one move on till I forgot to look back on Joelle's notes here. She wanted me to bring up that one thing that she misses from the original story is Stilgar in the original book kind of gradually comes to see Paul as the messianic figure, but in this film it's kind of like right away.
Hmm.
But I guess for me, you get more of that gradual look by watching the first film. But I can totally understand where she's coming from in this film, and that it's like he sees this kid as the Messiah like right away.
What is the name of the planet? Like I just
Arrakis.
want to call it the Dune.
Well, funny you should say that. Well, I guess you know what, Yen. Do you want to move
They
into
actually call it
spoilers?
Dune.
All right, we're gonna move into spoilers. And on that note,
What?
so the planet is called Arrakis, but
I think.
yeah, but the Harkonnen or the original Fremen name of Arrakis was Dune. And that's all explained in the scene that me and Yen wanted to talk about earlier. So I'm gonna hand it off to Yen. Uh, what did you like? That was the scene, in your opinion, that really stood out to you. Why?
Well, the two scenes. It
Okay.
was that when he essentially summoned the War Council. Well, he didn't summon them, but they all
Yeah.
came down to the south
Mm-hmm.
southern portion of the planet,
Yeah.
to talk about what we're gonna do in terms of like this problem they have with the Harkonnen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I guess the rule of cool of how badass that scene was sort of to me made like the whole this is colonialism thing
Mm-hmm.
be not as problematic because it looks so cool that you're just okay with it. And the second, and here's the thing, again, I don't know if I can say this, but I feel like this also happens with Warhammer 40K. Like how the factions are all bad,
Mm-hmm.
but like they're so cool that you forget like this universe is essentially like a satire. It's a
Mm-hmm.
reflection of like the worst things happening in
Yeah.
our world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like going on with the scene, so that scene when he's down there with the war council plus the send them to paradise scene, I like fuck it, I'm gonna say it. If I was being colonized by him and on that planet and he told me to send them to paradise, I'll be like, yes sir, Mr. Paul, sir, or Moa,
Muad'Dib.
because like it was just too fucking hype and badass. Like I legit forgot about the original warning of like this is not what you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, like you don't want to be a fucking space marine. You're gonna be put against the horrors of the galaxy. You're gonna be indoctrinated in terrible surgeries and terrible ideologies.
Mm-hmm.
But again, in this Dune case, it's like
Holy
you
War.
no, you shouldn't be involved in this holy war and this essentially neo-colonialism. This is all fabricated. You look like a fool, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's like send them to paradise.
Yeah. And this kind of goes into some of what Joelle sent me in her notes. And it's kind of same thought I share. I think a lot of the thoughts in your head about like this is wrong and like this shouldn't be happening. I feel like that is completely said through the character of Chani, played by Zendaya, and I like her role in this movie as the quote unquote devil's advocate, and that she is constantly telling people like she is a non-believer in this prophecy. She just thinks that all of this stuff has just been used to enslave her people. Like she just believes that those bald bastards are killing my people. We have to take them down. And Paul seems to be helping us get that done. And that's why she likes him. And she likes that he's different from the rest. And what I like, but I kind of think there's some moments where I think it's a little weird, is that once he becomes this like messianic figure instead of the rebel leader that he was,
Mhm.
she just kind of 180s on him a little too fast for me, but I still understand why. I guess for me, it's just like she blames him a little bit too much because I feel like for all the scenes that they have together of like, I mean, you don't see it, but it's implied that they have sex pretty heavily.
Whoa,
Yeah. Um, and like he keeps
Paul
explaining
Walker
to
and the other guy,
Paul
or,
Walker,
Paul. Does he have a
Paul,
last name?
Atreides.
Atreides.
Yeah.
What is he, Greek?
I mean, they all have like some
He's like a
weird,
space
like,
Greek.
yeah, space Greek.
Dude, he's hanging out with the Turks. Is this too much? Oh no.
Well,
What have I done?
wait, no, if you're comparing it to like Lawrence of Arabia, yeah, that's kind of what a big influence of this film is. Like, there's a lot of elements of Lawrence of Arabia, downright to the point that sand and a white guy comes in to quote unquote save the day.
Did he actually save the day though?
We'll get to that. Getting back to like my original thought, I just think like for all the moments that they had in the first half of the movie of like Paul explaining to her like I don't want to be this godlike figure to your people. I just want to fight the Harkonnens, and her understanding that, and then when he ultimately has to do it, like he doesn't want to drink that like water of life stuff and become pretty much Jesus. He just wants to like be the best like fighter he can be. But when the circumstances come to a point where it's like what we're doing is going to get all of these people killed and there's no other way to like rally the troops pretty much unless I become this figure that my mom has basically like forced me to become and forced all these different people to believe in. And then I feel like Chani just like really flips on him hard. Like, you could have, you didn't have to do this. I'm like, no, he did. He doesn't want to do it. So stop getting on his case about it. And I don't know. I just felt really like weird and like, I mean, I get that her character is to be the voice of her people, but I just feel like I felt like the film put the voice of her people above her as an actual character for a second until the ending in the throne room scene, pretty much. Like, that's when I was like, okay, this is the character Chani reacting to Paul being this character, being this persona. That's my thoughts on it. And apparently, from what I've learned, Chani's character is completely rewritten from how she is in the book. Because in the book, she's like 100% for this version of Paul. Like, go ahead,
Really?
send him to paradise. But the director and writer of the film said that he wanted to keep to Frank Herbert's original idea of the story because Dune, throughout its entire legacy of a book, has always been about criticizing colonialism. It's just been misread as a white savior story because at its core, that's the easiest way to explain it.
Oh
So,
yeah,
the,
misread. All right.
yeah,
Uh,
they took the love interest of the original book and made her a more complex character in this film. And I honestly do think Zendaya does a really good job. Like, in the first film, she was practically just a L'Oreal commercial. In this movie, she's an actual character.
yeah. I mean, I didn't see the first one, but I can definitely see that.
I kind of think we're getting to a point like where we want to talk more about like the ending battle stuff. So I kind of want to talk about one big thing that we kind of talked about a little bit is the worms. Like, first of all, the scene where Paul rides his first worm.
Sounds a little vulgar.
All right, I'm keeping that in. Um, yeah, so yeah, he does. It's bottom line. It's really cool.
Was it the bloat lord's worm? I can't remember his name.
Funny enough,
Harken.
yeah, no, it's not his worm. But
The
funny,
Baron, the Duke.
no, it's not that kind of worm. But then again, they do
Ah.
say in this film that it's the biggest worm they have ever seen.
Okay, dude. When they said that, I swear that guy next to us who was laughing constantly also laughed at that.
Yeah, I couldn't help it.
You,
We're all 5-year-olds. We laugh at that kind of shit. And when Paul and Chani post sex, we all in
yeah.
the theater just went, "You want to see my worm?"
Oh, dude. Yeah. I fucking yeah.
Like, I think like the worms are. Ironically, though, I'm not a big fan of the design of the worms. I love their presence in the film. I just don't like the. Okay, I'm gonna be a little crass here.
Teeth.
The dicks with anus tips.
Dude, I was just about to say that. It looks like a pulsating anus.
It looks a little
Oh,
a different kind of phallic image. But the one thing I do like about the design is the teeth look like whale teeth. Like, I think that's cool.
Yeah, like filtered teeth.
Yeah, I guess what I just missed on the book cover of Dune and the original 1980s Dune, they have like this tri mouth thing. Like, I like that design better. That's always going to be the worm that I think of when I think of Dune. But then again, the shit they did with the worms in this movie is so much cooler than what they ever did in that original. Like, when you see like an entire army of Fremen on one of those with the flags of the Atreides rushing in on the Emperor's guard on a Sardaukar, like, that shit was awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. I felt like I was there with the Fremen.
Like, that whole scene leading up to it, and like, oh well, forgot to talk about like how that battle starts. We basically find out that Paul has access to how many atomic bombs? Like 93?
I think 84, or
84.
actually, it's an even number, and it's
Okay.
above 70.
Yeah, it's basically fuck ton of bombs, and that also introduces us back to the character of Gurney Halleck, played by Josh Brolin, who's nice to have back in this film because it was also like a little bit of comedy of like fish out of water, technically, where it's like this older white guy having to deal with like these native people and not really understanding their customs. I thought that was pretty funny. Like when he explains the bombs to Stilgar, he's just like, "Oh yeah, we have a bunch of bombs here that could turn this planet into glass," and Stilgar just looks at him like, "What? What do you? What? Are you serious?" And Gurney's just like, "Well, it's a matter of speak. We're not actually gonna do it." But yeah, basically Paul uses those bombs to blow up the fucking mountain, protecting people from the sandworms.
And like, didn't he also hit the ship directly, or was
No,
I?
I think the just the like the I don't know, not the waves.
Oh
But
right,
like
yeah,
the
they were like in a fortress, right?
yeah, they
Or
basically blew up the mountain, which caused like debris and shit to like get thrown into the air and it hit the thing. His goal was not to hit the Emperor's ship
Mhm.
because he wanted to have an audience with the Emperor so that they can he could take over the throne. He blew it up because that was the only line of defense from this city getting sacked by worms. And yeah, the three worms come out of the sandstorm and just like waste all these poor Sardaukar.
The Sarokar being the hamburger cheeseburger
Yeah.
fries guy.
Yes. But yeah, they're really cool. I talked about them a lot in the first video, but yeah, I love the Sardaukar. They are the best. I really wanted more of the war chant in this film. Unfortunately, it's only left to the beginning of the film, like in the first film. They kind of use the Sardaukar as like a look how cool Paul is now kind of moment because he just fucking lays waste to all of them. Like when they kick open the doors to the Emperor's throne room and the Sardaukar are sent after them, like you don't even hear them die. You just see the Fremen walk in after that, like nothing happened.
Oh, when they were like in their little guarding
Mm-hmm.
um right? Oh, that was
I
badass.
love that moment. And so yeah, Paul basically goes up, stabs the Baron Harkonnen. Oh, I completely forgot. Completely forgot to talk about this. Yeah, Paul is the grandson of Baron Harkonnen.
The
He,
Bloat Lord?
yeah,
The Bloat Lord guy? Oh
yeah,
shit.
that fat guy. That's Paul's grandpa, and Lady Jessica, his mom, is his daughter.
Zendaya?
No, Lady
Yeah.
Jessica is the mom of Paul.
Wait, his mom is his sister?
No, his.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, hold on. No,
Dude,
I'm
I'm
explaining this
sure.
horrible. No, it goes. Fat bastard has daughter with hot mom that you like, which
He banged
there's
the hot mom? That's not fair, dude.
no.
What the fuck? Okay.
He,
No.
the fat bastard's daughter is the hot mom that you like.
Oh, so the Bloat Lord made the hottie?
Yes,
It's not
somehow.
fair.
No, it's not. But Dune weird genetic shit. She got a son with Duke Leto, who was in the first movie, and they gave birth to Paul.
What a letdown from her. I guess I don't know. I guess the granddad's genes came back for Paul. I'm sorry,
But yeah,
Paulie was a hater.
so that kind of means that Paul is next in line to also rule the Harkonnens if he takes out the Harkonnens.
He gets to become the Bloat Lord. What a
No, he
badass
just
turn of
rules
events.
over their. He could just rule over their people.
He doesn't have to be obese as like
No,
a prerequisite.
no. Yeah, he basically has control over two uh, houses.
Dude, he's
The House
playing
of
his cards
Trades.
right.
Yeah, and is also the Messiah. Like he's got a lot of power.
Yeah, what an asshole. He's freaking getting to pretend to be God, and he's got his fucking tribal
Mm-hmm.
sand individuals,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got the fat people. Like, what the fuck?
You mean the bald people?
The bald
Oh,
people.
the bald and the fats.
To be fair, the only fat guy that's in that race is the leader, so it could just imply that he's the only fat one.
It's like
Because
Kim Jong Un.
yeah,
When Paul becomes a ruler, he's gonna enforce forever bloat maxing. It's gonna make them get big.
I haven't read Dune Messiah. That could be the case.
He's gonna make them bloated and then like crossbreed with the tribals, and then they're gonna become like a new species.
Oh my god. Okay.
That's just my Dune theory. I'm sorry.
No, I'm laughing,
Yeah.
but there's weirder shit that happens in the Dune books after this.
No
So,
way.
oh yeah, I'm not gonna explain in this video just in case people want to read those books, but let's just kind of wrap up like what happens at the end of this film. Um,
All right.
Paul basically just goes up to the Emperor and says, "You are going to lay down your throne, and I'm going to marry your daughter." And he says this right in front of Johnny, like aka Zendaya. And I remember a lot of people in the theater kind of gasped at that moment because they were like, "That bastard!" Because yeah, he's kind of sacrificing his like love for Chani by marrying the emperor's daughter.
Yeah.
And it's more of it's purely a political move, like through and through. It's just like it's not based off love because before he does that, he goes over to Chani and says like, "I want you to know that whatever happens, I will always love you and no one else." And then like 2 minutes later, he goes up to the emperor, "I'm marrying your daughter." And one detail that I really like throughout the fight scene is you usually cut back to the emperor's daughter and Chani. Chani is staring daggers at the emperor's daughter, and the emperor's daughter's just like, "I don't know what the fuck is going on, but this one girl is giving me the eyes of I want to kill you." I don't know if you noticed
Yeah.
that, but I just thought it was really funny.
No, I noticed her glaring at her out of like frustration and anger.
Yeah, I just thought it was really. I like that how they portrayed that scene. We already kind of talked about the fight between Paul and Fade, but it's still a good fight. Uh, Paul does get stabbed, but he pulls a move that he learned from Gurney in the first film,
No
and
way.
yeah, but yeah, he basically uses the move of like, watch this blade that you're stabbing me with while I stab you in a place that's gonna hurt more, and basically
Yeah.
kills Fade Rotha. Which I wish there was more scenes between the two of them, but I still thought the scene was really cool. He's gonna go kill the Emperor, but the Emperor's daughter comes in and says, "Hey, I promise to marry you as long as you spare my father's life." Paul does, and he sends out word to all the other houses saying that he is now ascended to Emperor, and all of the other houses say, "We do not agree, and we think that this is wrong." And what does Paul tell the Fremen, Yen?
Send them to paradise.
Yep. And thus the film ends with the Fremen getting on spaceships and going off to basically conquer the other houses.
I have a feeling when that first happened, I thought they're going to fail immediately, but I guess not.
Well, at least what this film implies and shows for the most part is that the Fremen are such elite warriors because while everybody else has gotten acclimated to using like personal shields and stuff, these people have learned to fight without that, so they are much, much more dangerous.
Yeah.
And they don't need as much resources as other soldiers need because they don't need water, they don't need that much food. They can just fight and fight on. And on top of that, Paul has access to atomic bombs, two different houses, and now the Emperor's army. So he has a lot going on for him right now.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, that's kind of where this film ends. It does set up for a sequel, but as a wrap up for like a two-part thing, I think this is a good ending to have. Paul gets his revenge. It's the meme of save the cat, become God. And yeah, I know that the director has come out and said that he wants to do one more film, and that film is going to be based off the second book, Dune Messiah. I have not read that book. I don't know any of the things that happen. All I know is that I remember hearing that it's a significant amount of time after the first book, So who knows when we're gonna get Dune Messiah, but it could be like years from now. But for now, I really like this part one, part two thing we have going on here. And yeah, Yen, do you have anything to say? Like, just overall, what did you think of Dune, and how did it make you a fan?
Oh man, I mean, overall, I absolutely loved it, and I became a fan. I mean, it helps that I'm like a science fiction nerd and that I love Warhammer and Star Wars. Um, but I don't know. I guess overall, the setting of like the entire, I guess, universe
Mhm.
of Dune is what sort of um compelled me to want to like dive into the books and watch the first movie, even though it sounds like it might be a snore fest.
I mean, to me, I
Or not
don't.
a snore fest, but you get
Yeah,
what I'm
I
saying.
mean, to me, it is a slower film, but I feel like it's hard to say. Like, it is definitely a quote unquote downgrade compared to this film,
Hmm.
in that like all the shit that you wanted from the first film is in this film. So really, the first film is just used as a an introduction. But I feel like if someone were to make like a cut of both films together, that would be the Dune experience. Like the first film, and then you cut, and then you go right into the second film. Like just the full 5 hours, watch the whole thing. You'll get the full experience of Dune. Even though I feel like fundamentally both films are done in very different ways. Like the first film feels like a early seasons Game of Thrones, and this film feels more like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So it's really, if you
Mhm.
like Game of Thrones, you'll like the first film, but if you love Lord of the Rings, you'll love this.
I sort of like Game of Thrones, so I think I'll like Dune 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, if you were looking forward to what was in this film, you're not going to get that in the first film. I think what Dr. Jelqenstein said about like the first film, I can totally understand why he thinks that, and that's fair. Like, yeah, it's his opinion. It's not mine, but I'm gonna respect it. But yeah. Is there anything else we want to talk about with Dune before we wrap this up?
We're all about respect and tolerance at this company.
Yes, we are a safe space.
We're all sand people and
Yes.
halls and hot moms.
Hot
And
mom.
bald fat guys.
Yes.
Zendaya can stay out though, unless that's what you're into, I guess.
Um, why her?
I don't know. Something about Zendaya just rubs me the wrong way. I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up there. Yeah. Bottom line, the film is still out at the time of recording and probably this being released. Go out and see it. Like, make your own opinion, and once you're done, like, once you've seen the film, please come back and hopefully you didn't stay for the spoiler section of it, but like leave us a comment, let us know what you thought of the film. Um, yeah, I definitely want to hear what a lot of people our age have to think about this, because most of the critiques that I've heard from are like 30-year-olds to 50-year-olds. So I'm very curious. But yeah, do you two want to uh, promote or say anything before we go?
Yeah, Phantom Menace is out in theaters soon. I think you guys should see that movie too.
All right.
If George Lucas stole everything, at least Jar Jar was original. You know?
All right.
I guess on that, go see Kung Fu Panda 4 too.
Stay tuned for a review.
Alright, it's been fun. I'm Yan.
Dr. Jelqenstein coming at you.
All right. And I've been Max Kellerholes. Um, Please like, subscribe, and share. Follow us on our Patreon. For $5 a month, you can listen to everything, all our videos unedited, including this one, which will be very fun to listen to and probably get us canceled. But nonetheless, it's still really fun. You should check it out. Follow us on our social medias, our Instagram and our Spotify, where we keep you updated on all the videos that are coming out. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. I hope you all have a good day.
I don't think I've said anything that would get me canceled.